theoretical. Well,
Hi.
all right, you ready?
Sure.
All right. You always start off.
Oh my God. Hi, I'm Jacqueline.
And I'm Philip, and we're the owners of Richmond Comics. And today, to start off our show, we're going to talk to Morgan from Boom. And Morgan, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Boom.
Awesome. So yeah, no, I'm Boom Studios retail sales coordinator. So what I do for a day-to-day basis is essentially work with comic shops around the world, making sure that they get information about Boom products. If they need any like retailer services, like maybe their shipment got delayed or canceled, we can handle them from in-house, give them all the information on FOC, things like that, final order cutoff. Prior to working at Boom, I was the assistant manager at Earth 2 Comics here in Los Angeles. So I come from the retail world, and I understand the like excitement and frustrations that both come with being a comic shop retailer. So that puts me in like a unique position to be able to help people on like a real level.
Keeping it real.
Yeah.
Keeping it real, exactly.
Yeah, it's definitely been some challenging times over the last month and a half. So.
Oh, yes. to put it lightly, yes.
Yeah, but that's all we can do is laugh and smile and keep going through it.
Smile and nod.
Find little bits of positivity and be able to like move forward and smile and make other people smile. Like that's how we're gonna get through it.
Yep, exactly. So, like for you, how's it been not traveling for conventions? Because usually this is the big convention season for you, and you're like everywhere, and so now you're like, you're just at home.
Yeah, so it's very strange because I think I did ABA, which is the American Bookseller Association show, and then did Comics Pro immediately afterwards, and we were going to go do another like book show or book conference, sales conference with Diamond, and that's kind of when things started to be like, oh, we probably shouldn't be traveling, this is getting serious. And then just the cascade of like WonderCon is canceled, ECC is canceled, San Diego is canceled as of Friday, like that kind of thing. And we've kind of, I don't think anything's really going to like kick back up and running until 2021 is like the best thing we can hope for. It's strange because I miss seeing people and I miss seeing our creators and my friends that work freelance and stuff like that, because it's a huge hit to them. So hopefully everyone's able to pull through and we can, make the convention season in 2021 like huge and fun and like a big reunion sort of thing.
Yeah,
yes,
that's kind of what we were thinking too, but we figured in 2021 people are going to be so excited to go to a convention. It's probably going to be some record numbers out there for certain events.
Definitely.
So we know you've been in comics for a long time. So what do you do like outside of comics for yourself to keep yourself either grounded or I just need to get away from this for a while, as we all need to get away from this for a while?
Oh, for sure. So it's a little difficult right now, but
on a normal day.
I've been doing roller derby for the last 5 years.
Awesome.
So that's kind of been my life, where it's like you go to work, you come home, you change, you go to practice, you go hit some people, you get hit, and then you start all over again. So yeah, I've been I am a jammer for the Balboa Bandits here in San Fernando Valley. I skate for San Fernando Valley Roller Derby, and this year I was the co-captain of the B team, which is our seed pool for A team, which does most of our traveling and stuff around the United States and the world and stuff like that. But that's not happening right now because roller derby is canceled, I think, effectively for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But, it's a lot of fun. It gets out the aggression and, get to be athletic, get to just kind of get the endorphins running and to be around an amazing group of women and female identifying human beings or non-binary human beings who just like supporting their community and being athletic and having a lot of fun and supporting each other, which is great. Kind of like comics.
Yeah, very cool. I guess it's nothing like just taking someone to the ground, though, right? That's.
Oh, it's awesome! Oh my gosh, I live for that moment.
So Yeah, it's kind of hard to do that like 6 feet apart right now. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a full contact sport, but through the powers of the internet, we're still staying together as a league, and going through our own difficulties right now too, because leagues have to pay rent for spaces, and have a huge hunk of our income is games and events and getting people to come to those events, and it's a little bit of a bummer because we started off strong, having Warner Brothers reach out and being like, hey, so we've got this Harley Quinn movie coming out, Birds of Prey. Do you guys want to, do you mind if we sponsor your bout? We have all this Harley Quinn stuff here because she does roller derby in the film, and we're like, yeah, that'd be great. So we've got all this Harley Quinn stuff in our shed now.
Wow.
That's awesome, though.
That is a bummer, though. Yeah, but that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
So what books are you currently reading or enjoying?
I'm a huge, I love comics, like all types of comics, but I'm a huge manga fan. So I am caught up on like My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Haikyuu, that kind of stuff. But like in terms of like Western comics, I'm really loving Middle West. I loved Unnatural from 2 years ago. That's one of my favorites. Rereading a lot of Junji Ito. Smash, Shiver, Uzumaki, all that kind of fun stuff.
Gotcha.
Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me was fantastic last year.
Yeah, it was.
I'm catching up, so I'm reading House and Powers of X, and that is a wild ride.
What?
It's so good though. But I love Jonathan Hickman stuff. Like I'm a huge Black Monday Murders fan, so that one's really good.
It's very dark.
Yeah, very dark.
Yeah, no, it's so fun.
I tried.
Yeah, just kind of like catching up on stuff too, like Harleen, things like that I missed. All over. I try to read everything because I have to know everything in order to give accurate comps and help sell our books, which I didn't want to be like, I'm only reading good stuff. Even though I'm like, I think Once in the Future was the one book this year that I was just like top of the pile immediately every time because I had to finish it. It was so good.
Yep. Yeah. Once in Future. Part of our.
So good.
That's
Part of our giveaway.
Yeah.
Yay! Oh my gosh! If you haven't read Once in the Future, please! Oh my gosh, read it. It's so good.
So good.
Yep. So we'll segue into that really quick. So if you're joining us after this, we'll do the rest of our show, and we'll have a Boom giveaway today. So we got a decent prize package today with Once in the Future trade, and then we have a whole bunch of variant covers for Buffy #4,
Nice.
Firefly #2.
I don't know what I'm showing right now.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of Buffy stuff. Firefly, that's a 1, then variants for 2, and then I think we have a Adventure Time
Adventure
#1.
Time.
So that's our part of our giveaway today. So hang with us after this interview, and we'll tell you how to win that. So good segue, great, yeah. Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, as I mentioned to you earlier, Once in Future #1 was our #1 selling book in the shop this year.
That's so rad. Like to hear it was doing so well. Like we believed in it hardcore when we were first pitching it at Comics Pro last year.
Yeah.
But I think we believed in it so much. We were like, yeah, well, we always we don't publish things we don't believe in because we make comics for everyone. So we make comics for anyone. The level of love that book got, and the same thing with Somebody's Killing the Children, was mind-blowing. Like, we couldn't believe almost like how many people were like just talking about Once in Future anecdotally, and then when Somebody's Killing the Children was the follow-up to that, we weren't, it was kind of like the little horror book that we knew it was special, and we were really excited for it. We know James is a fantastic writer, we've worked with him before, we were just like super excited for him to be doing this series and working on Batman, and then that PDF was shared like all through James's friends and connections, and it just blew up, and we were just like, oh my gosh, people really love this book, this is great. Like,
yeah. And through all this, the interesting thing that I've found is, and we talk about it a lot here, that y'all basically ended up with basically the hottest artist in the industry right now, in Dan Moore, which in everything he's touching, Yeah, and he's just getting bigger and bigger for everything he does. And here, like, I push Klaus all the time. Like the Klaus stuff for me is just phenomenal. I mean, well,
No,
Grant Morris and Dan, so yeah.
No, Dan's amazing. Like, I think I've got a copy of like the Hexed Omnibus, which I think was one of his first works that he did with Boom.
Yep.
And it's like to see like Baby Dan artwork is so great, and to see him like going, like see his journey from like Hex to Klaus to Go-Go Power Rangers, Buffy to Once and Future, and you're just like, he's such a superstar, and his covers for DC have been really great. Like, I want to get my hands on that Teen Titans one so bad.
Yeah.
But Dan's also just a super really great guy, so it's nice to have to work with a creator that's not only amazing, fun, and has amazing storytelling skills, but like is also one of the nicest human beings on the planet.
That's always good to hear. You always like people that you follow through the industry like that and enjoy their work, knowing that they're good people.
Yeah.
So do you get to interact with a lot of the creative team? Pretty much everybody, or?
A little bit. Like, I mostly deal with retailers, but a part of the sales team is I'm also part of the marketing team. So I help work with them, and if creators are looking for places to sign, or we're doing tours for them, I usually am the one that interfaces with the creator and the retailer to make sure that those get set up appropriately, and then everything gets worked out. So that's kind of like the extent of which I work with creators, is just making sure that they have events scheduled and they have a good time, and that retailers get what they need in order to support the events. So everybody is happy all around. It's just support.
Right. Yep, I'm sure there's a lot of that going on. So you had talked about a little bit of your, past, like before this, you were like assistant manager or manager at the comic shop. So how did your journey begin in the comics? Was it something that you enjoyed at an early age, or you get in it through the manga, or how was that?
So, funny enough, I guess April is both the 20th anniversary of Naruto and the 20th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I had this moment of like, oh my god, that's like when my nerd journey started, because like that's like my first memory of like finding comics was I was at a Walgreens, because I'm from a really small town in Louisiana. Going to a Walgreens and seeing this comic book this large magazine. It was a Shonen Jump. I didn't know what it was at the time. I was like 9.
Right.
And it had Yu-Gi-Oh! On the cover, and I was like, I know what that is. That's on TV, and I like that show. And picked it up, and then realized it's this collection of comics, and I didn't understand that like you could write stories, but then also draw stories, because I like drawing and I liked writing, but I didn't know you could put the two together, and that's kind of when it clicked. So Shonen Jump is actually probably the start of the journey, because it was like Shonen Jump, and then Sailor Moon, and then all these different mangas, and then it was like X-Men, Chew, Walking Dead. So I was a huge comic book reader as like a kid, mostly manga, but I would intersperse comic books in there. We didn't have a comic book store until I left for college in my town. Like, we had Barnes & Noble, and that was it. And if you knew Barnes & Noble back then, it was like mostly manga, then like a shelf of Western comics. Like, that's about it.
Yep.
Yeah. But I wanted to write and draw comics, so that's where I put most of my effort. And I went to art school, and I graduated from Savannah College of Art and Design with a BFA in sequential art. Moved out to California before graduating, because I had an internship with Nickelodeon, and realized that animation wasn't really wanting to do. Comics was my true passion. So took an internship actually with Boom in their marketing department, because I was like, well, if I'm freelancing now, let me see how the comic book industry works, like from a marketing and publishing perspective. Maybe there's something I can learn from here to apply to my freelancing stuff. And also, I hadn't graduated yet, so I was still there. And I met with a lot of the team. Stephanie Hokai, who is the digital marketing lead for Boom, she was kind of like my higher up at the time, and she's still at Boom. It was really fun to see her again. And I worked with a little bit with Philip as well, not a ton. And after that internship, I went and worked for social media marketing for a fashion company, but then quit because I missed being at conventions, and I missed working in a store and interacting with customers every day. So I quit my job and went back to freelance and got stir crazy and went to the comic book store around the corner, which was Earth 2, and was like, they were having a Lumberjanes event, and I was like, oh, I know Lumberjanes. I was like, do you guys have an application? Like, I was one of those people who was like, do you have a job? Like, are you hiring? And I got the response of like, here, take the application and come back, and we'll let you know, kind of deal. Like,
Right.
I was like, okay, cool. I think Clark called me like the next day and was like, oh, you actually do have comic book experience. You worked for Boom, you know all this stuff. I was like, yeah.
I wasn't
Cool.
making that up.
So interviewed with Carr, worked at Earth 2 as a sales associate. I really like doing all of the back end stuff. So like, I like doing the backlist. I like filing things away. I like organizing the store, merchandising the store. I was one of the few full-time employees there at the time, and I knew the daily operations of the store and worked closely with the other general manager at the second location, the Northridge location. And that's kind of how I became like assistant manager there, and just kind of like ran the Sherman Oaks store 5 days a week, basically. And then one day I get a call from Carr, and he's like, hey, because I've been working 2 jobs at a time. I was an assistant manager at Earth 2, but then I was also like a key holding manager at a Hot Topic. So it was during holiday season, so I think I was like maybe sleeping 2 hours a night. A little stressed. And Carr was like, hey, so I got this call. Boom is looking for somebody to be their at the time, direct market representative. And he was like, they're around for shops to basically recommend somebody from their staff that they would want to go and interview for the position. And he's like, Susan and I want to put your name in. And he was like, would you be okay with that? And it was just kind of like this moment of like, well, would you be okay with that? Like, who's like, I'm at the store now, and I'm like, I mean, okay, who's gonna run? Who's going to be the assistant manager of Sherman Oaks if I leave? Like, what's going to go on? Like, I'm thinking about the store, like, oh my gosh, I have to do all these things
Right, yeah.
before I leave. But I didn't think it was actually going to happen. I was like, I had kind of like decided like I wanted to be in a comic shop for life, because I was one of those strange people that like loved comic shop retail a ton and wanted to learn everything about the business. And Carr is a really great person to learn that from. Both he and Chris are super knowledgeable and have like all these different resources. Carr was like a former board member of Comics Pro and stuff like that too, and I was like, what is this Comics Pro thing? What is this? Wanting to learn everything. And so I went and I interviewed with Philip and Ross and interviewed again, and they offered me the position. And I think I remember because I was like in the food court like on Christmas Eve or something like that, like around Christmas Eve. And Philip calls me and goes, hey, yeah, so we want to offer you the job. And I'm like, you're kidding, right? Like in the middle of this food court. And he's like, no, I'm not kidding. And I was like, okay. So that's kind of how it happened. Was Carr and Susan were incredibly generous to have this opportunity and to think of me for it. And it ended up working out really, really well. So I am forever grateful to Carr and Susan at Earth 2 for that opportunity, for this opportunity, because I would never in a million years imagine that this is what I get to do, like every day.
Very cool. It
I
seemed
love
like
helping retailers too.
Right,
It's
yeah.
just a great scale.
it seemed to happen all pretty quick for you too. So that's really cool.
Within like a year, yeah. It was about 3 years between the internship and the job at Boom, but the Earth 2 transition was probably about a year and 6 months. Like, it was rapid fire.
Very.
Awesome.
So earlier you mentioned like you like to write and draw. So is there any chance of you actually putting the idea out there for a book and you doing stuff for yourself?
I don't know. I mean, making sure that retailers have everything they need is, for me, it is a 24/7 job, because like you guys don't stop. Like you guys are all in different time zones. So like whether I should be or not, I'm answering like Facebook messages on weekends. I'm making sure that people are, taken care of if I can. Right now is a little bit slower because I can't do direct shipments, but I would love to at some point. It's just making sure that I have the time to, and I think maybe this will be my opportunity to like put something together. I have worked on anthologies before. I worked on the Corpus anthology with my friend Holly Aitchison, and so I have work published out there. But right now the focus is retailers and not so much me.
Gotcha. Nope, we understand.
and supporting my friends in their work, like.
But you're happy with that, right? No, you're happy with that. You're not like regretting.
Absolutely. No,
That's good.
no. I get to like work in comics every day. Like as far as I'm concerned, I have won. Like
That's good.
I am in the industry that I want to be, and that is a success.
Good.
Very cool.
It's for anybody out there that's like really frustrated if they want to get into comics and their path, like they want to be an artist or a writer, or they just want to be in comics, like your path is not always what you think it's going to be. Like I thought it was going to be like, I'm going to work at a comic book store and then I'm going to submit a pitch and then I'll get rejected and I'm just going to keep doing this over and over again until something works and, do the con circuit. It didn't work like that. Like my path into comics ended up being through retail and comic shops, and just a love of comics. So everyone's journey is unique and different, and you can do it on your own pace, and your timeline is your own. So don't give up, kind of deal. Things happen in weird ways.
Good speech.
Very cool. Yeah. Yep. Very cool. Yeah, that's good life lessons too.
Yeah.
So Boom is already considered probably the most retailer-friendly publisher out there. Across the board, whether it's talking to you or Philip or whoever, and what they do for the industry, not just as a whole, but even individual retailers. So, like during this time, how is Boom helping retailers? Through all the shutdowns and even the stores, kind of like ours, that's semi-open and doing business.
So before we all went work from home in mid-March, I emailed all of the Boom Guarantee people, because we have the Boom Guarantee program, which is a free retailer rewards program that's open to shops worldwide that provides full returnability on 6 select titles a month plus 2 select graphic novels per month through affidavit. So we already have a really strong network of retailers, and I emailed everybody and was like, hey guys, we're about to go work from home. This is the state mandate that's going to be happening. If you guys have online shops, and this was actually out of a tweet that Big Bang in Ireland made, where they had started already switching their business over to e-commerce and mail order. I emailed everybody and was like, if you have an online shop, if you have an online presence, if you're going to be doing curbside, if you're going to be doing safe services, let me know, and I'll promote it on my personal Twitter. Because at the time I didn't know if Boom was going to do that. I just wanted to make sure that retailers had a resource that they could go to through me, because I knew that this was going to affect their businesses really hardcore. And so I started building out that list, and that list went viral kind of in the comic book community. And it was just me posting like, this shop, this location offering curbside, here's their store, here's all their online links, this is where you can find them, help them out. And then out of that, Boom was super supportive of the idea, because it kind of blew up over the weekend.
Right.
And they used the list to help create the Boost Your LCS map, which is a Google map that indicates safe services worldwide, marked with a star. So if you go to the Boost Your LCS map on Google, there's a whole list of places. I think it's over 600 at this point. It's worldwide too. So like, we've got shops in the Philippines, we've got shops in Malaysia, we've got shops in Ireland, UK, everywhere. That and as well as in the United States, that are all there. On top of that, because of the Diamond comic distribution shutdown and retailers not being able to get new book shipments through Diamond, we've been working with our partners at Simon & Schuster and Ingram to help retailers know what resources they need. So we've been directing retailers to Simon & Schuster to be able to get new graphic novels, because graphic novels are still shipping on the Boom Studios book market program or book market schedule, to be able to get new product that way, as well as making sure that they have all of the resources that are being put out by the CBLDF and Bink Foundation. We've kind of switched over our FOC emails to be more of a retailer resource email. So anytime that we get new information about like Bink is running, the creators is helping getting donations through the Creators for Comics hashtag, or there's a new grant that's available, or CBLDF just posted resources on what to do during a shutdown, and here's how to boost your social media and e-commerce through their webinar. Like, we try to, put all of that information in one place because we know that it's rapid fire going through all these different social channels for you guys, and if we can be at a place where you can find it all in one place in one email, that's what we want to do.
Right. Yeah. And we will let you know through that our form for Simon & Schuster is filled out. It will be going out tomorrow.
Awesome. Brandy Bishop over at Simon & Schuster is like A+, like she is a rock star, so I'm so happy to hear that like comic shops are switching over to, or at least having alternate distribution models ready to go, and being able to like provide them those resources, whether it's Simon & Schuster or Ingram, or even just, Edelweiss, which is a platform that retailers and indie booksellers can use to just get information about books and be able to place orders with multiple vendors through one portal. Like, it's insane the amount of resources that are available to indie bookstores that like comic shops didn't realize were there, and now we're able to converge. And because you guys are indie bookstores, like you are, so
exactly,
you're entitled to like the same like benefits and everything that they get. And yeah, if it helps grow and strengthen the industry, like, it's great. Like,
yeah, that's how we basically promote ourselves here. I promote us as basically as an indie bookstore. I mean, we have comics in our title. We've been around for 33 years. That's kind of what we've been doing. But, you look around our store, we have all ages sections. We have young adult section. We have your standard comic section. So we use distributors, whether it's Scholastic or Penguin now, Ingram through that. So now we'll have Simon & Schuster. So like even through the shutdowns, technically we're getting deliveries pretty much every day, sitting back here, to say, hey, this all ages stuff is waiting here, or a graphic novel. So it's definitely a changed industry. That's for sure. So no, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, I agree with you. Like, it's changing. It's morphing. Like, it's no longer going to be like comic book stores and indie booksellers. It's going to be independent booksellers. Like, and you may just sell comics too. Like, that's going to be what it is. Like, everyone's in this together sort of deal. Right.
Now, through that, it's kind of the next question on that. Like, I mean, the pandemic itself has changed a lot. I mean, like from stores shutting down because the states are shut down. Some stores aren't. So, like ours, we're kind of semi-open and things like that. So, like, far-reaching, how do you see that affecting the whole industry? It's, kind of like we just talked about. It's kind of like we're becoming indie bookstores that sell comics and, back issues and stuff. But how do you see it playing out over the next few years? Because, I mean, I do see where this is going to change a lot going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to speak from, like, my own, like, personal, like, just side-party watching of, like, what's kind of going on. I think the distribution landscape is definitely going to change. I think we've already seen that change with a lot of people making Simon & Schuster accounts and Ingram accounts and Edelweiss, and I think we would be, I don't know, I think the stores that come out of this are going to be stronger for it, I think. They're going to have new ways to reach out to their customers. They've gotten super creative in terms of like what resources they use. There's more utilizing of Facebook Live. There's more utilizing of Twitter, Instagram, social media, where before certain shops may not have been using that as often to promote their product and themselves. There's been a lot more community outreach, which comics was already super strong at that. Like,
right.
In terms of that, you guys are all A+ at community outreach. But I think comic shops are going to be one of the places that people are going to flock to first. Like, comic book stores and independent bookstores, or both, like, depending on how they view their comic book store.
Right.
I think seeing a huge rise in people consuming digital comics is going to be a thing, not from a perspective of we're going to lose readers from print comics to digital comics, but you're going to have more readership, and they're going to want to go to a place to discuss it, or if you're a shop that offers gaming, like that's going to be a huge thing that people are going to want to do. They're going to want a place to socialize, and like where comic stores are unique is that they are already set up to be those community spaces, and to offer those services. I think the industry is going to be stronger because now that they're going to have more access to resources that may have been only used by independent booksellers or other industries, whether it's gaming or social e-commerce, things like that. I don't think that we're going to go away. I don't think that's not even on the table.
That's
not an option.
I don't see that either. I know there's always people who's like sky is falling type stuff, but books are here to stay no matter what, and the medium is too.
We as like a community love the print medium, so I don't think that that's going to go away anytime soon.
Yeah.
It's going to be a struggle. It's going to take a while. It's going to take some time to rebuild, but I think everyone, publisher, retailer, distribution partners, things like that, we're all kind of committed to making sure that the roof stays on and we're holding it up as best as we can. And then we're going to be there with the tools to help rebuild afterwards.
Right. So I guess Boom's been around for a while, but over the last few years, they've definitely become more of a major player in the publishing industry. Let's be fair. You're putting out, more, not more books, but better products at a smaller scale, as we talk about. And so those books are getting higher publishing. Like we mentioned, Once and Future #1 was our #1 selling book this 2019. #2 was our 5th selling book of 2019. And you have to throw in that like X-Men, 2 new X-Men #1s came out during that time, which is...
Oh, yeah, no, I know. I know.
Yeah,
I read those, I was like, oh, that's it.
Right, so, but those numbers is great. So, like...
well, that's fantastic. Like, to be the #1 selling, to be an independent publisher, and to have a book like that, and Once and Future being your #1 spot, and then even #2 being at #5, to be in the top 10, like, that's insane. That's
right.
Awesome. That's so cool. Like, I can't get over that.
Yeah, it has been great. So, like, as Boom keeps growing in that sense, how does, it's always easier to be the small little publisher over here that kind of runs under the radar, but then you put out books like Once and Future, and you keep going and you keep building that progress like you've done. Does that change on how you work with retailers at that point? Because now you've got a bigger spotlight on yourself versus, running under that radar all the time.
For me personally, no, it doesn't change at all how I work for retailers, because I'm going to work for them I'm going to give them the same level of attention and detail as I do anybody. Like, I don't discriminate from the size of your store. I don't, care how many copies you carry. Like, if you're carrying 50 copies of my book, you're getting the same service as someone that carries 5. Like, that's kind of how I operate and how I roll.
Right.
Is that you are supporting us and therefore I am supporting you. So in terms of how we operate in terms of retailer relationships, nothing is going to change. You're still going to get A+ Gold Star service from us, no matter, what you're ordering or what you plan to order. Like, we're just happy that you're carrying our books in your store and that you're supporting us. So we're going to do everything we can to support you.
Very cool.
So I love the original graphic novels, like the Lumberjanes, the standalone stories. Are there any plans of more of that coming up in like the next year or so? I did see there's a Firefly one was announced, but anything else that you can talk about?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
A little bit of a lag. Yeah, so we just announced the Firefly graphic, the new Firefly graphic novel. That's going to be really fun because it's told from the perspective of Wash. And it's going to break your heart. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Great. That's what we need. Yeah, thank you.
I'd rather let people know, like, it's going to be really, really good. And it's going to be everything you want as a Wash fan. So be prepared for that because we all love Wash. So one of the books that I'm looking forward to this year that's going to be coming out is a graphic novel trilogy from James Tynion IV and Michael DeLeonis. They are re-teaming up. They worked on The Woods together back in the early days of Boom. They are re-teaming up to bring a young adult graphic novel trilogy called Win out, and it is. I've only read the first 20 or so pages, but I'm already in love with it. Like, it's got a very kind of, Michael's art is so, he does TMNT and he does horror so well, but it's so fun to see him in a YA, almost Ghibli-esque element. It's, our main character, Wind, is, he's kind of, hiding himself because he's, mythological creature sort of deal, and, he's, adopted, and it's about finding yourself and finding your family. It's so sweet and charming, and we know that James has amazing range as a writer, so we were so excited to bring that out towards the end of the year. I think it's coming out in November, and we announced it, so we're very excited for that book to come out.
Awesome.
Very cool. So how, piggybacking on that question, we know you had plans going on. Do you see the original graphic novel plan changing at all with the new Netflix deal? Putting out different types of graphic novels to go along with what may be coming out with some of the Netflix shows when they get going down the road? Or you're just too early in the process to even think about that?
Yeah, we're very early in the process. I know about as much about it as you guys do. But we're just super excited about it and for what this means for our creative partners, because who knows, we're even as employees, we're speculating this would be so cool. I think it was fantastic seeing a lot of the comments being I want Once in Future. Oh my gosh, give me a Once in Future show. Lumberjanes animation would be cool, but
yes,
we're all yeah, that would be cool. Oh my god, that's so rad. But I don't know any more than you guys know in regards to that. But in terms of what this means for original series and graphic novels going forward, I don't think anything on our side is really going to change. We're still going to be putting out the same great books and thinking about what kind of stories need to be told and what creative own voices need to be out in the community to express themselves, and what stories need to be told, sort of things like that. And we're just focused on bringing great comic content to shops so people can get excited, whether it's connected to Netflix or streaming or anything like that is other realm. We're still focused on the comics part.
Right. Which makes sense, but I figured, throw it out there. But if you could get the Lumberjanes,
it was huge news.
Yeah, but if you could push through the Lumberjanes animated series, I would definitely appreciate that.
no pull in that area other than being
Yes, that would be awesome.
I'll take a live action Lumberjanes.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly.
Just Lumberjanes. Just want Lumberjanes.
That's right, just want Lumberjanes. That's exactly. So one of your big successes, I guess, last year was Faithless, which was a big change in what Boom normally publishes as you're putting out a mature book.
No, you mean?
I just saying, and obviously we're getting a volume 2 on that. So was that from a perspective of certain retailers? Because once again, retailers are a strange lot, and some of them have a hard time with things like this and not nearly as open. Was that a hard transition when you're talking to retailers hey, we're going to have this Faithless book that's a little bit more mature than say Lumberjanes, so please don't stock this next to Lumberjanes.
I mean, it was all about the communication of the series. We're hey, we have this new series coming out. It's a hard M, rated mature title. We don't do this very often, so when that we're and we took every precaution in the book where,
yes.
I believe we also had a page that was dedicated to suicide prevention hotlines and stuff like that in the back of the book. Because I know the book deals with some aspects of that. But we also we polybagged all of the erotic variants to make sure that it was very clear that if you were the type of store that's carrying sex criminals and carry the XXX covers, that this was kind of how you needed to rack them and to not put this in the kids section and not even put this in your YA section, because it's not. It is a hard M mature series from Brian Azzarello. We knew that you guys had been carrying Batman Damned, and so that's kind of how we rolled with it, where we're you're going to want to put this for your Batman Damned fans, you're going to want to put this Violence fans, like, this is like Saga levels mature, this is Sex Criminals level mature, this is Sunstone level mature. This is not a jump on series for someone that's super new to comics. And like, we did a lot of discussion about how we would message that out to retailers. And so every single issue and every single FOC, I was like, this is a rated M mature title. These are the themes that it deals with. Just making sure that everybody had the information. Like, I was reading every issue to be like, okay, what do I need to like add into this PSA to make sure that if anybody has any, you know, triggering responses to it, like, they need to know, and retailers need to know. And a lot of it was like, please read this at your discretion. We understand that not all stores are going to want to carry this book, and that's okay. Like,
Yeah, it was one of those questions that I kind of, it's strange to me because a lot of retailers, you know, had a lot of issues with even the DC young adult books that came out over the last years. Like, well, we can't carry this Catwoman book that's young adult because
The cat dies.
the cat dies. I'm like, what do you have you not ever read a young adult book? So it's
Hunger
like,
Games, people.
yeah, we that's why we made sure that our messaging was very, very clear in that, like, this is an adult book, this is a rated M book, this is why, this is what happens in the book, and explaining the theme so nobody was surprised when they read it. But if they had, you know, back like when I was still working as an assistant manager, you'd have kids coming in after Deadpool and be like grabbing issues of Deadpool off the shelf, and I'm like, oh, no, you should not be reading that. I know that he's cool. I know that Ryan Reynolds is great. I know that movie's rated R and you probably went to go see it with your parents, but I can't let you buy this. Like, and same thing with like Suicide Squad. I was like, I can't. Like,
yep, exactly.
So you just kind of, as the retail sales coordinator, I have to make sure that you guys are informed so that you can tell those customers, like, no, this book has, you know, sex and violence in it, and it goes beyond like what you would see on, you know, after 10 p.m. on FX. Like, that's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, it's definitely not a
It's
I'm not
Rated
hard
book is.
I'm not even allowed to look at the covers.
Yeah, I'm not even sure.
It's an intense book.
Yeah, not sure I'm old enough to.
Like, we were very happy. Like, Maria's a rock star. It's a great book for anybody that's into those titles. Like, Brian is knocking it out of the park. You know, it got a second series because it did so well with the first series. So, you know, it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot more going on with Faith and the Devil. It's a fun series. It is.
Yes, it is.
You know, we make comics for everyone because comics are for anyone. Like, it just falls into that mantra.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So are there some other books you're really excited about that you can tell us about that are coming up soon?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So I can only say, like, a little bit. But at Comics Pro in February, we announced that we would have 2 new series coming out this year. The first is going to be 7 Secrets by Tom Taylor, who was the author of Deceased. And then we paired him up. We're taking Daniele Di Nicolo off of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. He has been the main artist for, like, Shattered Grid, and he's been on Power Rangers so far with Necessary Evil. We're taking him off Power Rangers and pairing him up with Tom Taylor for 7 Secrets. I can't say any more about what the, like, premise of the book is, but let me tell you, if you love, like, good old shonen anime, like, it's way beyond that. Like, I cannot stop smiling every time we see new stuff from this book. Like, it's my new favorite. Like, I'm so excited for this book to come out. And Tom is already, like, an amazing writer, and, like, both he and Daniele are, like, a match made in heaven. Like, Kieran and Dan are. Like, it is perfect. Like, if you like Once and Future, you're gonna love 7 Secrets. Like, it's so good.
Very cool.
And Daniele's art is the same as Dan, where it's so action-packed and so emotive, and it just takes you all through the page. It's so much fun. And it's gonna be that blockbuster summer action flick of a comic again, like Once and Future was.
Awesome.
So super excited about that. The second book is going to be the next month after, depending on when our schedule revisions come in. And it is, we only find them when they're dead. And that's going to be kind of a la the same vein as Somebody's Killing Their Children, but it is Al Ewing's first creator-owned series. and he decided to bring it to Boom. So we are going to be publishing that. That is going to be a sci-fi psychological horror. And we are pairing him up with Simone DeMio, who is the artist on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right now for us.
Right.
And was the artist on the Venom annual last year. So you're going to get a really visually stunning space psychological horror book from Al and Simone, and we're super excited about that. Like it's going to be really good. So both of those are going to be like our 2 top books of the year that we're wanting to push out for retailers, and we really believe a lot in them. We always put 100% into all of our books in terms of like marketing and making sure you get all the information, but like every year there's at least one book that I'm like, yes, this is the book, oh my god, and like 7 Secrets is the book for me right now.
Gotcha.
I'm sure that'll change when We Only Find Them When They're Dead comes out, because, comics, and you love so many of them.
Yeah, we understand.
But like,
yeah.
I don't think I've ever sent a message to an editor being like, oh my god, I love you so much, this book is amazing. I need the next issue.
Yeah, I think 7 Secrets is probably what I'm looking forward to also.
Oh, it's gonna be a ride. I can't wait to send that PDF out to retailers. I'm like chomping at the bit, like give me a PDF.
Yeah.
But it's still in production, it's still being worked on, there's kinks being worked out with it. But it is the summer blockbuster that Once in Future was for 2019. It's gonna be that for 2021.
That's very cool. Earlier, just a side note, you had mentioned the Turtles Power Ranger crossover book that y'all are working on, and just to say, it's one of the books that's here that I somewhat has pushed, because I don't think anyone has come up with better cliffhangers at the end of an issue as that book is put out over that. So I think y'all and IDW did a really good job when y'all decided to put those 2 together and to make that story, because it's been pretty impressive.
Well, thanks. I mean, I think a lot of the credit for the cliffhangers goes to Ryan Parrott, the writer. For that, he's also the writer for Go-Go and the writer for Power Rangers,
right.
or Mighty Morphin Power Rangers right now. Ryan knows how to write teenage voices better than anyone, I think, in comics. I was like, dude, you're like My Hero Academia levels of like great dialogue here. Like, this is amazing. I was like, you had a Steve Rogers joke in the first issue. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But no, Ryan's a fantastic writer, and he is so good at capturing the individual voices of not just the Power Rangers, but then the Turtles, and then he's just super excited to be able to work on both franchises because he's a huge fan. So like, everyone, when we put these books together, like, it's so awesome to see that everyone is a genuine fan of comics and like what they're working on at Boom,
Right.
and from all levels. And I think that just makes for a really great experience, and then genuine excitement is, contagious and transferable. So when we're excited about a book and we're genuinely like expressing that, like, that can't be faked, so it comes to you, and then you can genuinely pass that on to your customers and your families and stuff like that, and build a community, because that's all it is. We're just sharing stories.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely been one of the more fun books that's come out in a long time, and
Fun.
Yeah, they've done such a great job with that, and we I'll tell you, we have people come in here and you're like, you really need to be reading the Turtles Power Rangers, and they'll kind of look at you funny. I'm like, no, you really need to be reading.
Really
No, you really need to be reading this. This isn't what you see on TV. Regardless, and his version of the Turtles in that Power Ranger universe has just been phenomenal.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, when you're like, yeah, so Power Rangers are gonna get Ninja Turtle powers, and the Turtles are gonna get Power Rangers, but you're like, what? Work.
Yeah.
What? And then Simone like brings you these designs, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it works.
Yep. Yeah.
But we were just, we're so excited to like to just go nuts and to be able to like. The editorial team on that book is fantastic. They are so good at like cultivating the best ideas, and really making sure that Simone and Ryan are putting the best book forward out and giving us the most information to be able to sell it, and being like, yeah, so in this issue this happens, in this issue this happens, in this issue this happens. Like, something's happening in every issue to make it worth your time to read it. So,
right.
And because we want to give you a good story. We can't let our foot off the gas on something like this. Like, how many times do you get to team up Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in your lifetime? Like, this is like a once in a lifetime book. Like, let's go all out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely been good. I mean, that's kind of, it's kind of the, we got the Once in Future Volume 1 trade, and then, before everything shut down, we actually got issue 7 of that coming out. And once again, if people haven't read issue 7, what a ending for that also. It was like, wait, what? You're doing what?
So, I know, and I want to scream about it. I'm like, I don't know who's read it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm leaving out the spoilers on that, but the issue 7, the way that I was like, holy crap, this story is going to end up being huge for what they do.
For a series that was only intended for 6 issues to graduate and be promoted to a full ongoing, and letting editorial and Kieran just kind of go, and Kieran's like, I've got stories, man, I've got so much, and you're just like, okay, cool, and then like you expect the first issue of a new arc to be like a little bit slower paced after like the huge climax of that, and Kieran's like, nah, bro. No. I remember reading that issue and running into the editorials. I was being like, "This is so good."
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I feel like some of these books, and that's kind of why I brought up the turtle thing. But I feel like a lot of the books that's been coming out through Boom, basically the cliffhangers have had some significant meaning to them. Whether it's a fun cliffhanger or Once in Future, where crap, we just changed this whole. You thought you knew what Volume 1 was about, but you actually have no idea what Volume 1 was about.
Yeah, and I think that what I love about comics and what Boom does specifically is they build stories and universes really well. Like, that's evident by what the editorial team has done with the Power Rangers franchise and building out that canon to where we've got like new characters like Lord Draken and Ranger Slayer, and doing more stuff with those characters. Like, they're not just flash in the pan to selling issue kind of thing. They are integrated into the storyline and continue forward, and we do that with our original series too, whether it's Lumberjanes or Giant Days or The Woods or Something's Killing the Children and Once in Future, and it's storytelling is something we love to do.
Right.
And I think that we feel that at all levels at Boom, and we know that you love to sell stories, and that's we just want to put good comics on the shelf. Like, that's all we want to do.
Right. So I'll go another off-topic conversation since you brought up Giant Days. One of the things that I'll tell you from a retailer perspective is that once again Lumberjanes is the bomb. I mean, we love Lumberjanes here, and we push that heavily. And then I think even though we've sort of kind of read Giant Days, it seems like lately Giant Days is getting more of a following. Have you been seeing that? Like it started off slow, and you're telling people about it, and they're like, it's not that it's just like another book. But Giant Days really isn't just another book that's out there for people to look at. It's a completely different realm of book, similar to Lumberjanes, but do you see that? I mean, we see it picking up more now than it has before, and are you seeing that across the board too?
I think from a reader perspective, I think what's unique about Giant Days is that it is the delightful comic that you get to spend 15-30 minutes with your best friends. Like, that's the type of book that it is, where it's not about adventure, it's not about craziness, there's no like crazy like cross universe storyline going on. It is 3 girls in college in England living their lives.
Right.
Like, that's it.
Yep.
And it's so calming and wholesome and fun and relatable. Like, I know that there's so many people that are like, I'm a Susan, I'm an Esther, I'm a Daisy, I'm a McGraw, and you're like, this is great. But Giant Days is so charming in the fact that, like, it is, again, like just a small sunshine moment with your 3 best friends, and like you get to catch up with them every month, and it's funny and it's relatable and it's great. And I think now that it's ended, that more people are going to the binge mentality of like, well, now I can pick up all the trades sort of deal. I don't have to follow it issue to issue to issue. I've been following it issue to issue to issue because it came out when I was still working in the store.
Right.
And it's laugh out loud funny, but also like it won the Eisner. It won 2 Eisners last year, which is like, I think it won for Best Humor Series, and then it won for Best Continuing Series, and, you know, we laugh, we're like, it beat Batman. like, Giant Days beat Batman. And we have a lot of fun with that, but I think once people pick it up and they can identify with a character or identify with, you know, one of the elements going on in it, like, they stick with it for life because it has no stakes. It is just a fun comic.
Right.
Like, that's it.
Yep.
It's just a good comic.
Yeah, you don't have to be
And John
stressed
is
out.
so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you just don't have to be stressed out reading this book.
No, you don't. And it's again like that calming moment in comics. Like, you can have your crazy X-Men battles, you can have your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle crossover, you can have your like holy crap moment like in Once and Future, but like Giant Days, you're like, comics are nice.
Exactly. Well, so kind of winding down here, so I'll kind of get you out on a personal question, just because I'm curious. So we didn't make it out to Comics Pro this year, but we were down in Charlotte in 2019, and we were there for the auction. So my question is you seemed a little shocked when you were auctioned off there. So I'm assuming Philip had a conversation with you ahead of time, but you still seemed a little shocked at the time.
So yes, Philip and I did have a conversation about it because I had already done the nationwide Discover Your Comic Shop tour the year before, and so that's what was going on with that. Where he was like, let's just do another one, and we'll do like a full day, and we'll like, you know, maybe somebody will do it around Once and Future, so we can do like a whole Once and Future day. And I was like, yeah, no, that sounds fine. Like, I had already been doing all of the tour stuff and things like that. I think what got crazy was when Ultimate Comics and Stu's store in New Zealand had a bidding war for
It was us.
10 minutes.
It was us.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we stopped at like $3,000 though.
No, it was crazy. It was like a crazy
It was
bidding
insane,
war, and
yeah.
then it just, Ultimate Comics and Stu's store in New Zealand just went crazy for like another 5 minutes, and I was just like, that's, I think, where I was just like, oh my gosh, like, that's where the panic started setting in, where I was like, guys, it's just a store stop. What? like,
It was pretty entertaining.
I'm glad. My panic attack was so entertaining. I think it was just, you know, the shock of that being such a value to stores, like that was crazy and fun, and I don't think any of us were expecting it, especially off of the, you know, riding the high that was, you know, Once in Future, the announcement for that going so well, where we were like, we're making all 6 issues returnable, and we were having all these plans for retailers, and everyone was so on board with that. We had such a successful like presentation, and we were so jazzed by that, and then to have this on top of that, it was a little overwhelming. Like, I'm an introvert, so being in that environment was a little scary.
Yeah.
I feel that.
It was a crazy night.
Yeah, I was sitting there going, I imagine they've had this conversation, but all of a sudden, Morgan's not looking like she's so sure about this.
Well, it was, I think the big part of it was that, like, Charlotte being where it was located it prevented a lot of retailers from being able to get there. So, like, we had discussions about, like, potentially taking the tour worldwide at one point, but like the cost of it doesn't work out that well. Because like I'd love to be able to like work with our partners at Forbidden Planet and Big Bang and stuff like that. I think where it got crazy was we forgot Stu was in the room, and he was there promoting Comic Hub.
Right. Yep.
So that's still in the works. I did the Ultimate Comics stop for their Once in Future big event, and that was awesome and great and a lot of fun. Everyone came out for that. We're still in the midst of planning New Zealand because I am still going to New Zealand at some point. But with everything that's going on now, that's put on hold for the moment. But we did have discussions about that at Comics Pro because I still have to do that. But you know, it doesn't matter because like all that money Anya went to CBLDF, which is a great organization that helps comic shops and helps creators and all that stuff. So like, if it helped raise like $3,500 for CBLDF, go for it. Like, that's great.
Yep. It was entertaining, like I said. So. Yeah,
it's entertainment. Like that's what it is.
That's what it was. Yeah. A room full of crazy people bidding on people. I mean, what could go wrong, right? So, all right, Morgan. Well, did you have anything else? All right. Well, we appreciate you taking the time this morning and getting up early on the West Coast and joining us for our show. So, once again, we appreciate it. Yep. Thanks a lot, and we hope you have a good day.
You too. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks.
Stay safe.
Bye. You too.
Bye.
See if I can end this here in meeting. There we go. All right, everybody. That was our interview with Morgan. So let us get set up here, and we will go into the giveaways that we have from last week and this week as we make noise over here. Lots and lots of noise. So we'll kind of get everything set up, and then we'll go into the Terry Moore winner for last week, and then we'll have our Boom giveaway. That ended up being pretty good. I'll just check my phone. It ended up being a really good interview with Morgan. Watch her. I can tell that she roller derbies. So that's not. Huh? I'm bringing up the PowerPoint. I'm slow.
Nice motorcycle.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, thank you. It's 1 of 5. What? Don't be giving me that look. So, bring this up. Hey, look. I've done a thing.
Alright, so back to regularly scheduled programming.
It is a regularly scheduled programming. Interviews.
I know.
Okay.
I just didn't know what I was saying.
Alright, that's fair. Well, this is episode 7, or issue 7, as we like to call it. We haven't started renumbering yet, so we got that. Maybe.
All new, all different.
On you all different weekend update. So once again, thanks for joining us for our Morgan Perry interview. That was pretty good. What? Oh, sorry. There we go. Hey, look at that. So, see, you put the slides together. So anyway, so once again, we thank Morgan for joining us and hope that we got some good information from her about what's coming up at Boom and how they're helping stores and retailers in the industry.
And good book recommendations.
Yep, good book recommendations. And then, so we want to do our giveaway from last week.
Terry Moore giveaway.
Terry Moore. It has the new bookmark, the Lily tattoo, and the
SIP 25.
SIP 25 first, number 1, both covers, and then the 20th anniversary, number 1 cover. So, got that? So the winner is
Jess Farrell.
Hey, yay! As Kermit the Frog would do, yay! So Jess, that you are the winner for that, so congratulations.
Woo!
And so then our next giveaway is kind of what we talked about while we were talking to Morgan, is our Boom giveaway.
Okay, so this is going to be a big one. We have a Once and Future Volume 1 trade. Adventure Time number 1 from 2013.
It's a summer special.
Just pulled that out of our
Somewhere.
back room.
That's exactly where it came from.
And then we have some Buffy number 4.
I think so. The variants, all the variants for Buffy.
Bunch of
number 4.
variants.
Yeah.
Very pretty. This Firefly number 1.
Yep.
And then number 2
And
variants.
4.
Oh.
2 and 4 variants.
2 and 4. Sorry.
Yep.
The big pack. of goodies.
So what do they have to do to win?
To enter, like this video, and in the comments, leave your favorite Boom character. Not book, character.
Huh.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Like a person's name from a book.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we got that.
Got that?
We got that. We're all good. So next week we will have our friend Kayla Kane here doing an interview. So she lives up in Maryland, and she's been a longtime friend of ours that we talk to a lot, and it's one of those things we've tried to get her down here a few times, and it's just never worked out. And this year we had this pandemic or something that happened when she was coming down. So we're going to talk to her next week. She's mostly known for her web series Altar Girl, but she's done a few other series through
She's the
Charms
illustrator on this.
for Anna and the Cosmic Race and Ghost Friends Forever. And there's 2 volumes of Ghost Friends Forever out. So we will be talking to her next week about her web series, about her other books, and then what she has coming up, and probably family life and other things that she has going on. So that will be next week.
Quarantine with crazy kids.
Quarantine with crazy kids, that's right.
Like
So,
most of you.
and then we've got some other interviews getting set up, but we'll have to let you know when that happens. These 3 interviews happened pretty quick. Everyone was like, yeah, let's do it now. So same update that we have pretty much every week. Hey, we're still open. We're still doing curbside service. If you don't want to come inside, we're still doing delivery. We're still doing shipping. Diamond has not started up their single issue shipping yet, so that's still there, but we hope to know some more information on that next week. I know some people probably heard mid-May, which could be. That's not a definitive thing yet on that, so they're supposed to get to the more information to us retailers next week. I'm sure some of you heard about DC and their distribution plans on these 2 new distributors, and that's a long story. If you want to talk about that, I would message me. I don't want to get into that.
We don't want to get off on a tangent.
Yeah,
on
not trying
live.
to kill this whole tangent today, but that would be a if you want more information on that and what's going on. I can't really talk to that yet. On that, I'll probably also have more information on Monday, but there's definitely some interesting things going on in the industry and how we're going to handle that. And I did want to point out, because of this, and the state of Florida still being shut down except the beaches, which is a whole different thing. We're still not shipping the CGC. If you've given us stuff to ship to CGC, we have it. It's sitting right over there in the cabinet, locked up safe. And we will, as soon as we feel it's safe to send them your books and know that we can get it back, we will do that. If you decide that, hey, I don't want you holding on to your stuff, please just let us know, and we can get them back to you. But it seems kind of iffy now to send something down there, even though CGC said, hey, we'll still take your books, but we're not so sure on that.
So Morgan kind of touched on this a little bit. So you can still get Boom books through Simon & Schuster. So we are signing up to get books from them. We're probably going to restock some stuff that we're out of, and then get some books for this month as well. Don't really know yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah. We'll probably be restocking all the Power Ranger books, some older back stock Boom stuff that we can't get anywhere else. As we were talking earlier, the Power Ranger stuff has been really good. We're actually big Boom fans here, so it's kind of hard not to. we won't go into that. We just spent a whole hour talking to Morgan about how great Boom is. So, but that will be happening soon. All right, so our next book club is actually next Saturday. Yes.
What day is it?
It's Sunday. It's Sunday the
April 25th at 7 p.m. Tommy, not me. I'm not mature.
Tommy's doing it.
I'm talking about The Boys Volume 1.
He gave the thumbs up, so yes, he will be leading our book club on Boys Volume 1. So that will be next Saturday at 7. Because it is a mature
To
book.
hang out
so
with the boys.
we have to
Girls
do
are
it.
welcome too.
So it's virtual. So I will be putting out the link for that on our RCX Book Club
Facebook page.
Facebook
If
page.
you're not in
Yes.
it, you can join it. It's
Our
public, so just search RCX Book Club.
Yep. And so the link will be going out Friday or Saturday morning. And
Whenever
we'll be
it
doing.
feels like it.
Yep, we'll be doing the Zoom stuff. So it's once it's virtual, and since it's mature, you can sit at home and have a beer while you do the book club. Cause
In your underwear, who cares?
don't do that. I don't really. As long as I can't see it, I'm fine.
I won't be there. I don't care what David does in his personal time.
Fair. All right. Oh, I've got nothing for that. So anyway, back to you.
I forgot to grab those.
Grab what? Oh, you want me to go get them?
Nah.
All right.
So these are some new DC books. We talked about Gotham High last weekend, and then Anti-Hero is supposed to come out last week. We finally got that in. So that is introducing 2 new characters into the DC world. I don't want to talk about it too much and spoil anything, but it sounds really good. It's in the all ages section. And then Lost Carnival is not supposed to come out until May, but apparently they moved the date up and we have a few copies. It's a Dick Grayson story, so you can come check that out. It's in the Gotham High and Lost Carnival or in the young adult section.
Cool.
And new for Tuesday.
Actually, it's just you Tuesday.
Yeah, these are
They
new
come
on
out Tuesday. Yeah.
We have the Pathfinder Society. So this is about 5 kids teaming up and go to summer camp and work on a project and mysterious castles and secret rooms and stuff. I don't know. Looks like fun. We have hardcover and softcover of that.
Hardcover. A hardcover.
That's what I said.
I know. I'm just pointing out the hardcover. Threw it down.
At Last Jedi is the next book in the Jedi Academy series. So this is illustrated prose, kind of. It's like an intermix of like comic and prose, I guess you could say. We have the whole series, so this is the next one. Bird and Squirrel. I think this is book 6. Yeah, if you want to read about the adventures of a bird and a squirrel, this book's for you.
How about that?
And these next 2, Verona Comics is a young adult book. I haven't read what it's about, but I bought it because of the author. I'm assuming these people meet in a comic store.
But this is the author of Hot Dog Girl.
There's a comic convention prom.
Huh.
But this is just a regular prose novel for young adults. And this is a prose novel for all ages. It kind of goes along with George, if you've read that. But this is about a transgender, if that's what you're interested in.
And then the book that we don't have in our hands yet that's out Tuesday is Girls Save the World in this one. So that is also a prose novel.
It is shipped, it's just not arrived yet. It should be here for Tuesday, but Jen Bartel did the cover, and it's gorgeous.
Yep. So that's. I was pretty much sold on the cover of that. So.
And just a reminder about our giveaway. Got all these goods here.
So like the post and your favorite Boom character.
In the comments.
And then just to remind everyone, we're still doing our Watson Bucks, which is our gift card. So if you need gift cards for anything, or certificates, I guess they're not cards.
They're paper.
They're paper. So.
Money!
Yep. So we're still doing those. So we'll throw that out there every week as a shameless plug
quality paper money.
Of hey, if you need to buy something, we have that. And then this Tuesday is our Facebook Live sale.
Stanley card.
We have the Stanley card will probably make a reappearance this week. He's missed the last 2 weeks as we've been going through Silver Age, Marvel, and then DC. Tuesday this week is going to be a bunch of books. We have a few dollar books, but mostly everything that we have is going to be priced from $2 to $5, which is going to be cheaper than what they're going for either on eBay or Price Guide. But we're going to have them for a range of $2 to $5, and we have a bunch of 80s. Excuse me. I don't know. A bunch of 80s Marvels and DC and just the whole range, different books. And we haven't put it up here yet because we just do our stuff on Tuesdays. But we will be doing a Thursday live sale this week. I know. And so on that one,
Who needs to do homework, right?
I don't need to do homework at all. I don't really. You have all day to do homework. So we'll be doing Thursday. On the Thursday one though, we'll probably go back to doing like a bunch of different stuff. So like we're doing the 2 to 5 on Tuesday night. Thursday night will probably be over $5 books, but not like overly expensive books in the 80s range. Probably some 70s. May throw some Silver Age stuff in there.
Who knows?
But it's going to be a whole bunch of different stuff. So you may find like some early Grus. May find some good X-Men stuff in there. Just a whole range of stuff. Maybe
what
even a
time
Judge
is
Dredd.
that going to be?
That's also going to be at 7 p.m. on Thursday.
Make me say that's what they done twice.
Yeah, well, 7 seems to be a pretty good time for this. So. And we close at 7. So that works out. But yeah, so we have a whole bunch of stuff out there like that. So. And then the next thing, as we keep mentioning, we'll keep mentioning every week. If you haven't seen it, we have an Instagram page called @TheWatsonReview, where our puppy Watson basically reviews comics every week.
He licks them.
He does lick them, so he gives books licks. He likes pretty much everything, so he usually gives pretty high licks. He always finds something to enjoy. So this week he wanted to review Once and Future since it was Boom Week. So basically,
Buy this book.
buy this book. This book is definitely, if you don't have it, if you haven't read it, this book is definitely worth reading. Basically, it's a bunch of, I won't really call them monster hunters, but it's sort of kind of that way. And then what do they do when there's nothing else to hunt? Let's bring back King Arthur and that whole world of fantasy.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, it's
Nothing.
what could go wrong in that whole sense of family drama and King Arthur. But yeah, so this is, we've pushed this book heavily here. We will continue to push this book heavily here. If you have not read it, it is definitely a
Well, you can win it by commenting your favorite Boom character.
That's right. You will become a fan of that book, I believe.
And if you don't win, we have tons of copies.
We do have tons of copies. So that is, and like I said, so you can follow us on Instagram. On the Watson Review, and we will
Also, YouTube. Follow us on YouTube.
Yeah.
We post this video, some story times.
Story times actually show up first on YouTube before they show up on the Facebook
Yeah,
page.
because I'm lazy.
It's just
Maybe
easier.
some other things. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, we do some
If you
different
really
things.
want to be entertained, you can watch videos from like 6 years ago of Tommy talking about comics. If you want to just laugh.
Back when we had a short little
Podcast.
podcast, yeah, which we may or may not ever come back up.
Talk to
today.
Tommy about that.
Yeah. And then, is that it? Is that all we have to talk about?
Do you need to talk about previews?
So yeah, well, I guess I can. So if previews is still due, even with all the shutdown stuff. So if you haven't gotten us your previews, please get that into us next week. Technically, I think it's tomorrow, right? The 20th.
I don't know what day it is.
It's Sunday the 19th. So get those into us. Those are still due. And as always, no matter where you're at, support your local comic shop. We're here for you during this time of your reading needs.
We're always here.
We are always here. There's someone always here.
I feel like I live here.
Well, not really. On Saturdays you do. And Tuesdays. And this week Thursday.
And Sunday.
And then Sunday. So I don't.
Every
But,
day.
yeah. So, hey, look, we had a preview slide. Look, previews. Oh, look, and you probably do more CD. Where did you do
I
the story
didn't
time
know.
slide? So she'll still be doing more story times next
Do you
week.
even like my stories?
I don't listen to your stories. I mean, I listen to them when you're doing them, but I don't
Well,
really watch
Earth
them.
Day is coming up apparently, like on the 22nd.
Second, I think. Yeah, I think that's right.
Anyways, there's a story for Earth Day about a turtle. My favorite.
So we'll go back to the ending here. All right, so once again, thanks everyone for joining us this week. We'll be back next week, like I said, with an interview with Kata Kane and talk about her books and her web series, and then we'll give some updates. We'll probably have some better updates on shipping and when new comics can start flowing back into the store soon. So we will talk to you next week, and thanks for joining us. Bye. And now you're about to stare at me while we turn off the camera.